War can break out at any time, but could it be connected to the secret underground bases of the US government? Join us as we uncover the truth. Welcome to Midnight Declassified. Beneath the Colorado Rockies lies something unimaginable. Encased under 2,000 feet of granite is the Cheyenne Mountain complex, a fortified structure built to survive the unthinkable, nuclear war. But what if Cheyenne Mountain isn't the only one? What if it's just the tip of the iceberg? Across the United States, whispers speak of a vast hidden network, underground bases, secret tunnels, cities built beneath our very feet, entire ecosystems sealed off from the surface. The question is, why? Why is the US government pouring billions into these shadowy subterranean projects? Is it simply preparation for disaster? Or do they know something we don't? This isn't fiction. This isn't fantasy. This is the story of what might be the greatest infrastructure no one talks about, buried in silence. We begin with what can't be denied. Several massive underground facilities have been publicly acknowledged. Cheyenne Mountain Complex, the crown jewel. Built during the Cold War, this facility is a city within a mountain. It's not just a bunker. It's a command center with its own life support, water reservoirs, power grids, and even gyms and cafeterias. Massive blast doors seal it off from the world. It was designed to keep America's most critical operations running while everything above burns. Then there's Mount Weather in the hills of Virginia. While rarely spoken about, it's believed to be the emergency seat of government. If Washington, D.C. were ever compromised, key officials would vanish, relocated here underground to continue running the country out of sight. Raven Rock, often called Site R, straddles the Pennsylvania-Maryland border. Some call it the underground Pentagon. It mirrors the functions of the Department of Defense and is said to be able to operate independently. These aren't rumors. They're confirmed, and yet, they're just the ones we're allowed to know about. So what else lies beneath? In the shadow of nuclear fear, the US created a plan, Continuity of Government, or COG. Its premise was simple. If the government's physical structure were wiped out, the nation would not fall with it. Evacuation plans for the president, secret command centers for military generals, succession lists sealed in vaults. During the morning of September 11, 2001, pieces of this plan came alive. Vice President Dick Cheney was rushed to a hidden location. Members of Congress were scattered. A shadow government activated for the first time. But that was only a brief glimpse. If that was the visible protocol for a single attack, what must the full plan look like for a true global crisis? And why are we still building? Today, whispers from below, theories, rumors, and things we can't unsee. Here's where the story descends. Literally, over the years, whispers have turned into testimonies. Former military contractors and engineers have spoken, some on record, many not. They speak of deep underground military bases, DUMBs, dozens, maybe over 100, scattered across the country. Some beneath mountains, others beneath major airports. Denver International Airport, for example, has long been the center of theories. A massive underground footprint, strange murals, inexplicable runways shaped like symbols. What lies below? Some claim underground tunnels connect bases thousands of miles apart. That magnetic levitation trains, similar to those in Japan, can transport cargo and people at supersonic speeds far beneath the Earth's crust. It sounds like fiction, but then you remember this. On September 10, 2001, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld stated publicly that the Pentagon could not account for $2.3 trillion in spending. The very next day, that story was buried. Coincidence? Maybe, but the numbers remain unaccounted for. So, what are they expecting? That's the question echoing in the minds of millions. Because these aren't just bunkers, they're cities, self-sustaining, fortified, expandable. These weren't built for a weekend storm. They were designed to outlast civilization. And here are the leading theories, each one more unsettling than the last. 1. Nuclear war. When the sky turns red, The most obvious, the most devastating: nuclear conflict. All it takes is one miscalculation, one chain of retaliation, and entire cities could vanish in a flash. More than 70 years since Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and yet the doomsday buttons remain, fully armed. The arsenals of the US, Russia, China, they're not for display. And the threats? Louder by the day. If that moment comes, no one survives above ground. Radiation, fire, silence. But below, in these concrete megastructures with filtered air, blast doors, and self-contained ecosystems, a fragment of humanity might endure. Governments, scientists, power, waiting for the ash to settle. 2. Climate collapse. When the earth fights back rising seas, relentless floods, drought, fire. We used to call it climate change, now it's collapse. Ask the real climate scientists, they're not smiling. If sea levels rise enough, coastlines disappear. If megastorms become regular, entire cities become unlivable. If heat reaches lethal levels, there's nowhere to hide. Nowhere, except underground. Subterranean cities maintain constant temperature. Food can be grown, air recycled. Communities, small, elite, can survive for years. This isn't survival for everyone. This is survival for those who planned for it. 3. Biological catastrophe. When the air itself kills, you can't see it, you can't smell it, but it can kill you in hours. Antibiotic-resistant bacteria, engineered viruses, lab leaks, deliberate releases. COVID-19 was a warning shot, a relatively low mortality virus, and the world still nearly collapsed. Imagine one that's more infectious, more deadly, and incurable. Above ground, lockdowns, panic, mass death, but underground, filtered air, quarantine chambers, sterile zones. A hidden population could wait it out, while the rest is left behind. 4. Extraterrestrial threat, if they arrive. Sound crazy? Not anymore. In 2020, the US Department of Defense officially acknowledged the existence of UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. They don't know what they are. They don't know where they come from, but they are real. So let's imagine, if something not from Earth were to appear, friendly or hostile, where would world leaders go? Not the White House, not Congress, underground, beneath miles of stone and steel where no signal can reach, where classified operations become survival protocols. Maybe they know something we don't, and they're not waiting to find out the hard way. 5. Something we can't even imagine. Not everything comes with a warning. Some threats don't announce themselves, some don't fit into categories, some exist beyond what we can understand. A physics experiment gone wrong, a rogue AI, a dimensional rift, or a cosmic cycle we've long forgotten. You don't build entire underground cities out of fear. You build them because you know something. And maybe, just maybe, someone knows something that the rest of us were never meant to. So is this just conspiracy? Maybe. Or maybe it's the quietest survival plan of the 21st century. And if one day you hear thunder that doesn't come from the sky, ask yourself, who's down there? Signs in the dark, the clues they leave behind. So how do we know any of this is real? We don't. Not fully. But as with all great secrets, there are breadcrumbs. Civilian reports of deep mechanical rumbling beneath the earth. Strange seismic readings in places with no tectonic activity. Construction projects labeled continuity infrastructure that disappear from public records. And then there's what we see but ignore. Remote regions suddenly fenced off ventilation shafts in the middle of nowhere. Satellite imagery blurred, distorted. It's all circumstantial. But then again, so is everything until it's not. This isn't about fear, it's about questions. The government doesn't build cities underground without a reason. It doesn't spend billions on hardened tunnels just in case. It plans, it prepares. Maybe for our protection, maybe not. But the next time you hear a distant hum late at night, or see a mountain fenced with satellite dishes, ask yourself, what's really going on beneath our feet? And more importantly, do they know something we don't? Thank you for staying with us until the very end. Our story today, comes to a close. If you enjoyed the way we told it, or if you have any thoughts or suggestions, please feel free to leave a comment or simply like and share to help this story reach even more people. Your support means the world to us. Every reaction, every share, every word gives us the fuel to keep going, to keep uncovering the stories that were never meant to be heard. Once again, thank you. We'll see you on the next journey.